Videos, podcasts, websites, forums, books, and major network TV series are just a few of the thousands of hours of content that have been created on the disappearance of Maury Murray. From the common sense to the conspiracy theorist, narratives run the gauntlet from fact-based to completely outlandish. All the while, the Murray family had to witness having someone they loved ripped from their lives, and while trying to deal with that, having Maura's character and life dissected by people who never knew her. How would that make you feel? Confidential family issues, past mistakes laid bare, as if the public had some type of right to that information. In part one of our look into the disappearance of Maury Murray, we will look at the official timeline released by the New Hampshire State Police. Maura's behavior in the days leading up to her disappearance, what she took with her, the condition of her vehicle, and look into the events leading up to her supposed crash in Haverhill, New Hampshire. Maury Murray is not a character in a book. She's not fiction. She is a potential victim, a very real person who has had a family to this day 20 years later, is still as passionate about finding the truth as the morning they found out Maura was missing.
We've been going through the woods, all her favorite spots, and we're just looking for somebody just to come out and say something.
Kathleen Murray has spent the last 3 days searching for her sister, 21-year-old Maura. The UMass college student hasn't been seen since Monday night when she crashed her 96 black Saturn on Route 12 in Woodsville. Police arrived to find the car, but no sign of her. One witness reported seeing Maura looking impaired.
She might be afraid that she's going to get in trouble, but we just want to let her know that it's fine. We just want her to come home.
We did an intensive search of the crash scene area for evidence that she may have walked into the woods. Nothing like that was uncovered.
Haverhill police have been working with state police and Fish and Game to find Maura, while her family and friends have been driving all over the region, posting these missing person signs, hoping someone may give them a clue as to where she is.
I feel badly for the family and hope that she's okay.
They're canvassing everywhere from Haverhill along the Kankamegas Highway to North Conway. The area is like a second home to Maura. She's come here to the region with her family since she was a kid. While her family believes she may have been upset about something, it was nothing that would have caused this type of alarm. Still, they're very concerned.
She's just a great person. We wanted to come home safely.
She's the best. She's got a lot of family, a lot of friends, and we love her. We just want to see her come.
The following timeline was published by the New Hampshire State Police on June 8, 2004. On Monday, February 9th, at approximately 7:30 p.m., Maury Murray, a University of Massachusetts college student, was involved in a single vehicle accident in the town of Haverhill, New Hampshire. When Haverhill police arrived to the scene, approximately 8 to 10 minutes later, they found the vehicle locked with no one around. To date, an extensive investigation has been conducted into the disappearance of Maury Murray. The following information has been learned. On Saturday, February the 7th, Maura spent the evening out with her father and friends at a local brew pub. Later that evening, in the early morning hours of Sunday, the 8th of February, Maura was involved in a single vehicle accident in the town of Hadley, Massachusetts. She was driving her father's new car at the time of the accident and struck a set of guardrails, causing approximately $10,000 worth of damage to the vehicle. By Monday morning, February 9th, Maura had packed up her belongings in her dorm room at UMass, putting everything neatly in boxes and putting all the boxes on her bed, along with a personal note she had recently received from her boyfriend. She went on the internet and looked up the directions and overnight accommodations in the Bartlett, New Hampshire area, as well as Burlington, Vermont area as well. She withdrew most of her money from her personal bank account. She sent emails to her supervisor at work, as well as college professors saying that she would be absent from work and school for a week due to a death in the family. There was no death in the family. She did not tell her family, her friends, or her classmate that she was planning to leave school for the week. She left Massachusetts at approximately 4:30 p.m. in the afternoon of February 9th, 2004. At approximately 7:30 p.m., Maura was involved in a single vehicle accident on Route 112 in the town of Haverhill, New Hampshire. The accident was the second accident she had had in 3 days. The vehicle she was driving at the time of her second accident was also her father's car, one that he had loaned her to use while at school. Very shortly after the accident had occurred, a passerby stopped and offered assistance. Maura seemed to be uninjured and refused assistance and stated that she had called AAA to come tow the vehicle. In fact, there was no cell phone coverage in that area and AAA was never called. When the passerby stated he was going to call local law enforcement to come and assist, Maura pleaded with him not to call police. Investigators are also aware of some additional stresses that were occurring in Maura's life at the time of these events, to include a difficult long-distance relationship with her boyfriend in Oklahoma. At the accident scene in Haverhill, there were no signs of any struggle or any other evidence which would indicate that a crime had been committed. At the time of Maura's disappearance, there was approximately 2.5 feet of snow on the ground. Searchers were able to easily distinguish deer and moose tracks in the area, and the snow cover greatly assisted the searchers in eliminating possible areas where Maura could have traveled off the main roads in the area. To date, June 8, 2004, there have been 5 air searches with the New Hampshire State Police helicopter. There have been searches with bloodhounds or canine search and rescue teams in the area surrounding the accident site on at least 4 separate occasions. The area in and around the accident scene has been completely extensively searched on the ground. This effort has been co-coordinated by the New Hampshire Fish and Game Department, which is charged with all search and rescue efforts in New Hampshire. State, local, and federal law enforcement agencies have been involved in the investigation into the disappearance of Maury Murray. Investigators believe that Maura was headed for an unknown destination and have accepted a ride in order to continue to that location. Investigators are hoping to speak with anyone who may have given Maura a ride sometime after 7:30 p.m. on February 9th in or around the Haverhill, New Hampshire area. Also, if anyone has any personal knowledge of why Maura was leaving school, where she was headed, or what her intended destination was, this information would be extremely helpful to assist investigators in locating Maura. Based on the evidence gathered to date, New Hampshire State Police investigators strongly feel that the disappearance of Maury Murray does not have a common link with the investigation into the disappearance of Breonna Maitland in Vermont. We continue to work with our counterparts in the Vermont State Police and local and federal law enforcement in our effort to locate both these missing young women. That was the official press release investigators gave shortly after Maura first went missing. Maura's behavior. It was clear that investigators had a narrative with this timeline about Maura's state of mind, with statements mentioning the condition of the dorm room and how they were aware of some additional stresses that were occurring in Maura's life at the time, including that Maura told no one where she was going or why. Police also went on record saying Maura was possibly suicidal. On the night of February 5th, 2004, Maura, who was working her campus reception desk job, reportedly became distraught, and her shift supervisor was informed and went to check on Maura, who, upon being asked what had happened, Maura allegedly told her, "My sister." Apparently, Maura was so upset that she had to be escorted back to her dorm room, and it has been reported that she was in a possible catatonic state. When asked about the situation, her sister said there was nothing wrong on that day. It is reported that a phone call that night could have been what triggered the response from Maura. Her family had been dealing with a private issue, but a search of Maura's cell phone logs show that the call from her sister came in earlier that night, around 10, and the incident happened later in the night after midnight. The call logs also show the last call Maura received before that incident was a 7-minute phone call with her boyfriend. The phone at her reception desk, being an inter-campus line, was not hooked up to an outside line. Investigators also tracked calls from that phone as well, but no information was released. Maura took the time to finish and submit her homework. They also found that other than searching directions and accommodation, she also made searches for terms for her current maternity cycle classwork, which led to various rumors about Maura being pregnant, when it was actually just an assignment to search maternity terms. In the email Maura sent to her professors and supervisor, she mentioned a death in her family. However, it was confirmed by the Murray family there was no death, leading to even more questions about Maura's intentions on returning to campus. It is understandable she would not only want to inform them that she would be out, but also when she would be back. It is still unknown why she would be looking for directions to Vermont, as well as the attempts to gather information about rentals in New Hampshire, and if she was planning on meeting anyone. Maura was familiar with the Bartlett, New Hampshire area, as the Murray family did vacation there. Maura also contacted a classmate to inform her that she would be returning some borrowed clothing. Reportedly, Maura sounded upset during the call, and when asked what was wrong, Maura mentioned a family issue. Initially, she told Maura that she did not have to return the clothing at that time, but Maura did return the clothing, although her classmate did not come to the door when Maura knocked, and Maura left the clothing at her door. Maura's dorm room. Lieutenant John Scarenza of the New Hampshire State Police told WCVB-TV that authorities had found a note in Maura's dorm room that she had wrote to her boyfriend indicating troubles in their relationship. Sometime between Sunday and Monday morning, she packed up all of her belongings in her dorm room, to include taking all of her pictures off the wall, taking everything out of her bureaus and put them in boxes, and left them on her bed. He states the note was placed on top of the boxes. But her boyfriend's mother has stated that her son arrived at Maura's dorm room with the police just 2 days after she went missing. He said there was no recent letters to him from Maura that were found. Quote unquote, there is no note. Maura's father wrote about the claims of Lieutenant Scarenza in a letter to the governor of New Hampshire. To support their diversion, the commander of Troop F twice stated during the Chronicle program on Channel 5 in Boston that Maura wrote a final letter to her boyfriend and left it in a prominent place in her dorm room. This clearly suggests the traditional suicide letter, but in the description is that she never wrote or left such a letter at all, and the police were fully cognizant of this fact at the time. Instead, he asserted on another occasion the note mentioned by police was actually a 2-year-old letter written to Maura from her boyfriend, and definitely not a suicide note. At this point, we're not sure if investigators have interviewed anyone that's seen the condition of Maura's dorm room prior to February 9th, so it is still unclear for certain if she intended to return. Maura's 1996 Saturn was in no shape to travel. Speaking to the issues of Maura's vehicle, her father said, kind of blew a cylinder and was smoking something fierce. He had also told her, "You can't drive this car. The cops will pull you over in a heartbeat." As a temporary fix, her father says he suggested she put a rag inside the tailpipe to hide the smoke. Remember that for later. With all the problems known to Maura about her car, it raises even more questions as to why she would risk the trip. What was worth taking a vehicle she knew could lay down at any moment, traveling to a location in the dead of winter with possible bad road conditions, without telling anyone or where or why she was leaving? In the days leading up to her disappearance, her father came to UMass with the intentions of finding Maura a better vehicle. Though unable to come to a deal for one, Maura, a friend, and her father went and had dinner. Afterward, Maura borrowed her father's car to attend a party. After the party, Maura was involved in an accident in Hadley, Massachusetts. According to the accident report, Maura was traveling westbound on North Hadley Road near the intersection of North Maple Street. Driver to operate inattention, she went through the T section and struck the snowbank and guardrail at opposite side of T intersection. Vehicle was towed. An operator gave a ride to Quality Inn Motel. That was the motel where her father was staying. Maura was not injured, but was upset by the accident, which caused around $10,000 worth of damage. There have also been claims that Maura was intoxicated on that night. There is no mention of any sobriety test or Maura being intoxicated on the official accident report. The on-scene officer was a UMass police cadet. The drive north. After leaving UMass, Maura made a few stops that we can confirm. 13 years after her disappearance, investigators released still images from an ATM showing Maura and timestamped February 9th, 3:15 p.m. And it seems those images lead to even more questions, as it shows Maura wearing a light-colored jacket with her hair up, which contradicts official FBI missing persons reports of Maura wearing a dark coat with black hair past shoulder length down. It has also been confirmed through a photo of a receipt the Murray family released from the New Hampshire State Police that Maura stopped at Liquors 44 in Hadley, Massachusetts. It shows Maura not only purchased alcohol, but also returned cans and bottles to the store redemption center and redeemed $3.95 and then made a purchase of $38.31. Maura then headed north on that cold February day and ended up over 2 hours and almost 150 miles away on Route 112 in Haverhill, New Hampshire. A modern-day direction search shows that if Maura did in fact take Interstate 91 to get to her crash site, she would have driven around 130 miles north, then taken exit 17 in Newberry, Vermont, then turn right on that Highway 302 towards Woodville, New Hampshire, continuing on a little over 10 miles. Then she would have taken a right turn onto Route 112. Then 3.5 miles later is where Maura's car would come to a stop. There have been attempts to take the same drive that Maura took, taking the same directions and making the same stops, and using the official timeline of how long it took at each stop she made after, and some investigators have found upwards to an hour that is unaccounted for using that official timeline from when Maura left Liquors 44 to the crash site in Haverhill. In part 2, we will look at the location where Maura's car was found. the initial 911 call logs, the discrepancy in the transcripts, and the officers on scene and on duty that night. We will also take a look at the initial search efforts and get into witness statements. If you have any information about the disappearance of Maury Murray, please contact New Hampshire State Police at 603-846-3333. Thank you for watching The Unknowns.